If you've ever looked at men like John Wicks, Jesus, James Bond, or Jocko Willinks and thought, what do they have that I don't? Well, you're asking the right question. Today we're breaking it down. No fluff, just 10 core traits that turn regular men into exceptional ones. These aren't random virtues or cliches. They're actually operating systems that high-performing, grounded, purpose-driven men run on. And if you stick with me, you're not just going to learn, you're going to start building them into your life story today. Now let's kick this off with what I believe is the root of exceptional manhood, and that is clarity of purpose. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. That's not just philosophy, that's a blueprint. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there's no vision, the people perish. And I've seen it, man. Men without vision drift. It's really kind of sad, and you can look around and see it today. They move, but they don't advance. They're busy, but they're not building. Here's the truth. If you don't know who you are or where you're going, the world's just going to hand you a script, and it won't serve your mission or your family. Neurologically, we'll see if I can say that word today, purpose activates your prefrontal cortex, your command center. That's the part of your brain that says, I've got this, and turns chaos into clarity. It gives meaning to your pain. Look at John Wicks. I know he's a fictional character, but we can use it in the example. His purpose reignited with a dog and a letter. Something small, but it pulled him back into motion. Jesus walked to the cross knowing exactly what he was doing, if you want a real life example. Not wondering, not reacting, but walking with purpose. That's strength. If you don't define your purpose, your comfort will. Today, let me challenge you. Write one sentence. I exist to ... Fill in the blank. Post it, pray over it, act on it. And if you're not sure what your purpose is yet, start by studying greatness. Read biographies, watch documentaries, study people who move you, who have built something lasting that inspire you. That's where the spark comes from. A man without purpose is a loaded weapon with no target. But purpose without control, well, that's like giving a child the keys to your Lambo. That's why the next trait is emotional mastery. Before we go deeper, this episode is brought to you by MyPillow. Right now, you can get their premium bed sheets, just $29.88, any size, any color. They've also got towels, bath mats, and even men's towel wraps. And guys, I use this stuff every day. My house is loaded with MyPillow stuff. It's legit. That's why I can stand behind them, because I'm a MyPillow customer as well. Go to mypillow.com/thrive or call 1-800-794-5834 and use promo code THRIVE to get up to 80% off your order. That's mypillow.com/thrive or 800-794-5834. Use promo code THRIVE. They're a great American company, employee owned, so you're taking care of our own. Shopping with them helps keep shows like this on the air and free, so thank you in advance. The Driven to Thrive broadcast, purpose, growth, and lasting impact for men. Helping men go from living to thriving, purpose-filled, intentional lives. Welcome to the Driven to Thrive broadcast, where men learn to lead themselves, their families, and the world with purpose, growth, and lasting impact. I'm your host, Brent Dallin, and I studied multiple real influential men, along with some of the most popular fictional characters that men align with, to identify what makes them stand out. Why do we like these guys? What makes us men look at them and connect with them and what they represent to us? And I identify the top 10 traits in men that forge strength, purpose, and legacy. Let's get into it. You ever wonder why the world's most dangerous and respected men are the calmest ones in the room? I've had the great privilege of knowing some of our top silent professionals, as the SEALs like to call themselves. It's because they mastered their emotions. Emotional mastery isn't about stuffing feelings away. It's about choosing how you act. It's not being ruled by impulse. That level of control, that's what we're diving into next. So let's talk about the trait that separates warriors from wrecks: emotional mastery. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Emotional mastery isn't about being cold. It's about being in command. Ephesians 4:26 says, "Be angry and do not sin." Notice that it doesn't say, "Don't get angry." It says, "Don't let anger run the show." Brent's translation. Your emotions are messengers. They're not masters. The amygdala fires first. It's a fight, flight, freeze. You know this. But your prefrontal cortex can override it if you train, and that's what separates reaction from response. If you remember in our last 2 episodes, we've talked about some breathing habits or breathing techniques to help you stop that amygdala hijack. Think about Geralt of Rivia, right? No, not the new season 4 version. We'll just not talk about that, right? But think about the character himself, right? I know he's a fictional character, but men love this character. Why? He's stoic, he's calm, he's calculating, even when surrounded by chaos. Or look at Jesus. He wept when his friend died, but he didn't lose control. He didn't freak out like some General Z. Jocko Willinks talks about the same thing. Discipline equals freedom. You don't have to like Jocko, but he makes a lot of sense in some places. That calm you feel in men like that, it's earned. It's trained. Because when you master your emotions, you master the moment. This week, track your triggers. And you all know I hate the word triggers, but track your triggers. When do you get irritated? When did you get defensive or reactive? Write down what happened, what you felt, and what you could have chosen instead. Remember, master your emotions, or your emotions will master your moments. When you can control yourself, you're ready for life to hit back. And it will, make no mistake. That's where the third trait comes in, and that's resilience through pain. Marcus Aurelius told us the impediment to action. I can't even hardly say that word, so I feel weird quoting it sometimes, but Marcus Aurelius really knew some shit. So, forgive my speech lack there, or my lack of good speech. My kids make fun of me too. It's okay. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Paul said it better in Romans 5. Suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character, hope. Pain isn't a punishment. It's a process. It activates the limbic system, the emotional core of your brain. But when you give that pain meaning, well, when you reframe it through purpose, it rewires your mind for strength. Look at James Reese from the Terminal List. Loss forged him into something unstoppable. Geralt of Rivia carries scars that made him wise. And Jesus, well, he didn't avoid pain. He transformed it into redemption. Every great man you admire has a scar story. Pain isn't what breaks you, it's what builds you. If you stay in the fight long enough, that is. Pain is the gym where your soul learns endurance. So try this week. Write down one pain you're still carrying. Could be physical, emotional, spiritual. There are a lot of people carrying some really heavy trauma, and you may need professional help with that. But it's okay to start somewhere. What did this teach me? Write it down. How did it shape me today? Write it down. When you can name the lesson, you can reclaim the power. Pain's a teacher. It either shapes you or it shatters you, but it never leaves you the same. Now, from that pain, something solid forms, and that's a personal code, a set of rules that tells the world, this is who I am, and that's what we're tackling next. You see, every great man lives by a code. Marcus Aurelius said, if it's not right, do not do it. If it's not true, do not say it. And Jesus said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. That's not just about honesty, it's about identity. Now you guys can get ready to laugh. I'm very bad at medical terms, but I do my research. There's something called a ventromedial prefrontal cortex. I love looking this stuff up. Like, I dig learning about the brain. I should have become a neurologist or what's his name is, because I really enjoy learning about this stuff. But this ventromedial prefrontal cortex, and that's why I write these things down, because we couldn't remember to say them if I tried to. That's the part of your brain that handles moral judgment. Like, this is an actual piece of your brain, and it actually lights up when your actions align with your values. That's cool, right? Like, they can actually see that in your brain with scans when your actions and your values align. Integrity isn't a virtue, it's your nervous system in harmony. Look at James Bond. He kills, sure, but he never betrays his mission. Geralt won't harm a child, even when it cost him, and Jesus flipped tables because his code demanded it. Righteous anger and fury, because it violated his code. When you live by a code, you don't need a crowd's approval. You already know what's right. A man without a code is a compass without a north. So try this week. Write down your 3 non-negotiables. Those lines you will not cross no matter the pressure. Keep them visible. Post them on your mirror. Put them somewhere you see them all the time. They're not rules. They're reminders of who you are when everything else goes to hell. A man without a code will always fold under pressure. So make sure that you know exactly what yours is if you want to stand solid, no matter what you face. But a code means nothing if you can't back it up. And honor without skill is just really good intention. So let's talk about competence. Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Ecclesiastes tells us, whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. See, men talk a lot about confidence, but confidence doesn't come from words. It's not something you say. It's not something you espouse. It comes from competence. You feel better because you've earned the right to. Those guys we were talking about at the beginning, you know why Navy SEALs walk in and own a room instantly? It's because they are competent at their mastery of violence. Every time you master something, a trade, a craft, a discipline, your brain fires off dopamine. You're literally rewiring yourself for strength, certainty, and progress. Skill mastery doesn't just make you capable, it makes you calm because you know you can handle it, so you stop fearing it. Like I said, that's why SEALs own it. SEALs own rooms. Green Berets own rooms. Why? Because they are master at their art, which means they're no longer afraid of whatever they walk into. Bond's a technician. Jocko, he's a tactician. Jesus, he's the ultimate craftsman, a carpenter who built with hands and a teacher who built men from the ground up. So pick one area of your life. It might be finances, fitness, leadership, or faith, and commit to mastery. Don't dabble. Don't sorta, kinda do it. I'm talking like commit, like jumping out the plane. That's commitment. Saying, I trust that this parachute is going to save me, is going to catch me so much that I'm willing to jump out of this plane. That's what actual commitment looks like, guys. No safety net, just total commitment to your belief. Lock in and dominate that lane. A man who can do things well never needs to say much about himself. Confidence without competence, it's just ego in a costume. Now, let's talk about presence, because we already touched on it a little bit, because great men don't just do, they influence. But let me throw in a quick pause right here. If you're digging this conversation and want to see how the sausage is made, maybe go deeper into the messy, unfiltered truth of growing as a content creator, a man, a husband, a dad. Check out our private podcast, Behind Closed Mics. It's raw, it's honest, it's unfiltered. It's the behind the scenes of my life as a content creator who does 4 of his own shows, produces shows for other people. I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a freelancer. I work multiple clients and a man. And there's a lot that doesn't make it onto this mic because my shows have a specific theme and idea behind them. But there is so much to the story. And if you're a behind the scenes kind of person, You're going to dig it. You'll hear things I'm learning in real time, mistakes I made, big losses, big wins worth sharing, and just the unfiltered truth about what life looks like when you try and take on living the way I do as a content creator and a coach. It's only for our Patreon community, and that's where real connection happens. So if you want to support this mission and get exclusive content, go to patreon.com/thefallibleman or tap the link in the show notes. All right, let's get back into it. You know, I hate self-promotion. So let's talk presence, because great men don't just do, they influence. That's what I said, right? And I meant it, because Marcus Aurelius told us, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Just be one. Guys, that's powerful. That's super powerful, because we live in a world where people talk a lot instead of just doing. Presence isn't about charisma. It's about consistency. Matthew 5:16 says, let your light so shine before man that they may see your good works. Presence is how a man shows up. It's how you walk into a room. The atmosphere shifts, not because you're loud, but because you're grounded, you're competent, you're capable, you're skilled. Garrett Riviera does this, and he doesn't even need to talk. His silence does the work for him. But I know that's a fake character. Well, guess what? Jesus embodied this more than anybody. He didn't chase crowds. Crowds chased him because there was something about him. Crowds still chase him thousands of years later. Psychologically, your presence is contagious. Mirror neurons actually fire in those around you, and they start to mirror your calm, your discipline, and your confidence. Your energy introduces you before words ever will. Try this. Enter every room with intention. Shoulders back, eyes forward, good posture, right? No phone, no fidget, no nervousness, no hands in your pocket, just presence. Show people what steady, confidence, calm, and capability look like. Your presence should speak before your mouth ever does, and conveys so much more than your mouth ever will. But presence without purpose is vanity. So presence becomes power only when you're willing to pay a price. So let's talk sacrifice. And all of these groups that I looked at, real men, movie characters that we look at as men and go, yeah, I want to be like that, right? There are these incredible traits, and one of them is sacrificial willingness. Marcus Aurelius said, it's not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live. Jesus told us, greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Sacrifice isn't just about dying. It's about giving up comfort to gain character. Your brain actually rewards sacrifice. Altruism activates the reward centers, filling you with a sense of deep meaning and connection. John Wicks lost everything, yet he kept giving himself to the fight. Chris Kyle, the Navy SEAL sniper, gave his life for his brothers. Jesus gave his all for all of us. The pattern's the same. True strength is proven through surrender. The measure of a man is what he's willing to lose for the people he loves. So this week, identify one comfort that you would be willing to sacrifice this week for your family, for your calling, for your brotherhood, for your purpose. Find that comfort that you would let go because there is something more valuable and you know it. Less Netflix, more time with your kids. Less scrolling, more serving. Small acts of sacrifice build eternal impact. And it makes you the kind of men that we all look up to. You can measure a man's strength by what he's willing to lose for the sake of others. We see this throughout classic literature. We see this in the Bible. We see this even in modern media. And we respond to it because it's true. Now, sacrifice only makes sense if there's something worth sacrificing for. Every man needs a tribe. So let's talk about loyalty and brotherhood. Marcus Aurelius tells us to live in harmony with others is part of our nature. Proverbs 17:17 says a friend loves at all times and a brother is born for adversity. Every man needs a tribe because isolation kills. The myth of the lone wolf is exactly that. It's a myth. Nobody stands alone, at least for very long. You might stand alone in some of the hard times, but you don't stand very long, right? History supports this. We're all familiar with the story that inspired 300, or maybe you're not a literature person and you haven't actually learned that that was inspired by real events. 300 men held back the entire Persian army. Was it as glorious as the film made it out to do? Probably not. But those men didn't stand alone. They stood with their tribe. They stood in a brotherhood, and the power that created amongst them was incredible if you read the actual historical recording of that. Science backs it up as well. Male bonding lowers cortisol. That's the stress hormone if you're not a hormone person. It increases oxytocin. That's the yay hormone. And it improves long-term health. Brotherhood literally reprograms your stress response to make you healthier. You can look at Geralt of Riviera, right? I know, fictional character again, but trust me, the story's going somewhere. Even with his ragtag crew, and let's face it, right? You got the minstrel guy that nobody remembers his name, and his protege, and the hot sorceress chick. He didn't keep a lot of company, but his friends were loyal to the death. Even the ones like the guy who got cursed by the ghost or whatever in season 2. So, Brotherhood, right? He still had his crew. We all know we roll stronger with a crew. Look at James Reese and his Sill brothers in the Terminal List. The Terminal List. That's right. I'm new to watching that, guys. I just started watching the Terminal List. I'm behind everybody else, I know, but it's definitely cool so far. But I actually know real Sills, not just fictional ones. And you see the same thing with those guys. Those are their brothers, man. That's a powerful. One of the reasons that teams are so powerful is because they're a team. The bond makes them as powerful as the crew that 300 is based on. Even Jesus built a circle of 12. Why? Because it helped expand the ministry. It kept the message going out after Jesus went back to heaven, but those guys needed each other after that too. He built a circle because as a tribe, we're stronger. Lone wolves look really cool in movies. Like we've all seen them and we're like, yeah, Rambo, right? Didn't always go so well. But in real life, lone wolves starve. That's the reality. Stop watching National Geographic. They lie. Wolves alone in nature die. Brotherhood doesn't just protect you from the world. It reminds you who you are when the world forgets or tries to jam their crap down your throat. The strongest men don't stand alone. They stand together. So this week, reach out to one man in your circle. Not to ask for something, but to check in. Real brotherhood isn't about favors. It's about faithfulness. And as men, that's something we often really struggle with, is connecting in brotherhood in a meaningful way. I have a laundry list of guys on my phone. And I'm just like, man, I should really check in with Oliver. I should really check in on David. I should really check, right? I can go through my phone list, and I do on a regular basis. Like, crap, I should check in with those guys. We're all busy, so we're not hanging out all the time. But they mean the world to me, and I am better when I am with them. And I frequently forget to reach out to them. Guys, it's horrible behavior to try and unlearn, and get intentional. I've got a friend who actually puts it in his calendar, and twice a week he has notes in his calendar to text certain people just to check in with them. It's something I think I'm going to try. If you're curious about that, if you want to try that, let me know in the comments, because that's something I'm thinking I'm going to try, because I really struggle with this one. Brotherhood doesn't make you weaker. It multiplies your reach. And brotherhood is tested in fire, because when pressure hits, only one thing separates talk from the truth, and that's courage. Courage isn't the absence of fear. We've all heard that quote. It's the mastery of it. Well, Marcus Aurelius talked about this too. If you're distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but by your estimate of it. Joshua's 1:9 echoes, be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you. Courage isn't a feeling, it's a decision. It's an action word. It's when your prefrontal cortex overrides your fear response, when logic and purpose steps in front of panic and fear. John Wayne said it best. Courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway. And you can see it in men like Desmond Doss, the medic who ran into the gunfire unarmed just to save others. Now, if you don't know that story, don't just watch Hacksaw Ridge, which was a phenomenal movie. Props to that team. I know they took some liberties with it, but Desmond Doss's story is amazing, guys. It is highly worth investing, looking into that. Actually learning the truth behind that movie, because it is more remarkable than the movie is. Fear is loud. It screams, not yet, not ready, no, not enough. Courage whispers back, go anyway. Bravery isn't the absence of fear, it's obedience in its presence. So this week, write down one thing you've been putting off out of fear. The conversation you didn't want to have, whether that's with a spouse, your kids, your friend, or at work. The project that you're like, I got it, I'm a little anxious about starting. Or how about the risk? Take one step towards it this week. Fear screams, but courage steps forward anyway. Courage wins battles, but discipline wins wars. And if you want to build something that lasts, it all comes down to this final trait, and that's self-control. Epictetus tells us no man is free who is not a master of himself. Process that one for a minute, guys. No man is free who is not a master of himself. 2 Timothy 1:7 reminds us, God gave us a spirit of power, love, and discipline. Self-control isn't about suppression, it's about strength. It's the art of keeping your impulses on a leash so that your purpose can lead. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, your prefrontal cortex actually gets stronger. You're literally training your brain to follow your mission instead of your mood. Jocko Willinks lives like this every day. Jesus fasted for 40 days. Guys, I get pretty hangry after fasting for 18 hours. 40 days? Oh, discipline. Geralt, well, he's surrounded by chaos and temptation constantly, and he still chooses the mission. That's what separates men who drift from men who dominate their domain. A man who masters himself can handle anything else. So pick one habit to build, or one to break, because sometimes we got to break the habits first. Stay consistent for 30 days. Track it, pray through it, fight for it. Freedom follows focus. The most dangerous man is the one who rules himself first. These 10 traits aren't theory. They're tools. They're something we've seen expressed over and over again in great men and even in fictional stories that draw us in, that we love, because they're things we're drawn to. They're a code that turns potential into power. And if you're willing to do the work, these 10 traits will take you a long way. These 10 traits, clarity, emotional mastery, resilience, code, competence, presence, sacrifice, brotherhood, courage, and self-control, aren't just a checklist. They're the foundation of what it means to live a life that matters. You're not going to master all 10 of these overnight. You're not supposed to, guys. That would be impossible, because things that are this deep, well, they take work. So pick one that punched you in the gut really hard while you were listening to this. I mean, that one that just lit you up. It's probably the one that scared you to death and you wanted to do the least. That's your starting point. That's your battle. The world doesn't need more men who talk a big game. It needs men who live with clarity, character, and conviction. So build your purpose, guard your emotions, endure your pain, live by a code, master your craft, carry presence, sacrifice for others, lock arms with your brothers, walk through fear, and control yourself before you try and control the world. That's the code of exceptional men. So go get it. What are you waiting for? Remember, growth isn't about perfection, it's about pursuit. And if this episode hit home, do me a favor. Share it with one man in your life who absolutely needs to hear this. That's how movement grows, and that's how this movement will grow. If you haven't already, subscribe, leave a review, and check out our other shows in the Valuable Man ecosystem. Remember, growth isn't about perfection, it's about pursuit. So keep showing up, keep building, keep thriving. I'm your host, Brent Dallin, and this is the Driven to Thrive broadcast. Be better tomorrow because of what you do today. We'll see you on the next one. The Driven to Thrive broadcast. Purpose, growth, and lasting impact for men. Helping men go from living to thriving, purpose-filled, intentional lives.